You have reached the SnailTrail4x4 Podcast voicemail. If you want to leave some feedback about Toyotas, have questions about Toyotas, maybe poke some fun at Toyotas, or let us know how your JL came with a Starbucks membership, then leave it all on the line and we'll get to it on the podcast. Keep crawling.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Snail Mail. This is our Friday segment where we get to sit down and listen and kind of converse with you guys and sort of.
Yeah, one-sided, two-person conversation.
Yeah. We love listening to voicemails from listeners and callers, anybody who calls in. Any topic, it's pretty much up in the air. I think we've only ever not aired maybe one.
Maybe one.
I don't remember what the topic would have been that we didn't air, but anyways, yeah. And the fun thing is that we don't like pre-listen to these at all.
No,
we just play them. So you guys get our genuine reaction. There's no planning out how we're going to reply or like, man, are we going to air this one or do we want to, we just kind of go with it. And, it's a lot of fun. So lots of good feedback from you guys. Lots of really good questions. Some good fun scenarios. Some fun talk about amusement parks and video games. So yeah, pretty much there's no holds bar. Call in and chat about whatever topic discussion you want to, and we'll discuss it. So
yeah, it sounds fun. On one of my flights, I had Wi-Fi. And I was watching one of the Mighty Car Mods unicorn circuits. So they don't, to my knowledge, they don't really do a podcast, but they sit down, just the two of them, in front of a camera and talk about news and other things.
Oh,
so it's just a YouTube podcast. Is what they do. And they had a segment on there. It was called like "Show Me Your Junk" or something like that. And it was people would send in submissions that are 1 to 2 minutes long of their car.
Okay.
Right. And so I thought that was a really clever idea.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I thought once we get the TV in here, once we get the studio going, we might merge some of Snail Mail with like listener rides or something like that.
That'd be fun.
And you could send in a video of your rig, talk about what you've done, what it, some cool or things about it or some bad things about it. And we could do probably the whole Will It Rubicon segment and part of that. So yeah. And that gave me a kind of an interesting idea for another segment of the show for sure.
Nice. Fun stuff. So we have, I think it was 18 voicemails.
18 or back up to 18?
Back up to 18. Jeez. We had it down below 10.
Yeah. Jimmy's not allowed to go on vacation.
Nope. So let's see. We got Jordan.
Okay.
Out here in Las Vegas.
Called in again?
Yeah.
Cool. He's called in before. So awesome.
Yeah. Let's see what Jordan's got to say today.
Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Tyler. Jordan out here in Las Vegas. This question's more for Tyler. I heard a couple episodes back that you were trying to sell your camping trailer and couldn't find it on Facebook Marketplace, but that's not surprising for me. I feel like I can rarely find things on Facebook Marketplace that I'm looking for. But I'm curious to know if you've parted it out yet or sold it. I'm interested. Just need more information. Give me a call back. I'd appreciate it. Sent you an email, but seems, I don't know, maybe you didn't see it or didn't check. Tyler doesn't check his email. Who knows? Phone number 702-409-4964. Thanks. Keep rolling.
We might beep out his phone number when we go through editing.
Yeah.
But so this is funny. I've had that trailer listed for about a year.
Yeah.
And with the full electrical system and everything in it, didn't get a single bite. Nobody inquired about it, nothing. So I ripped all the electrical system out of it, transferred over a bunch of it over to a couple different spots. So it's just kind of the trailer with the drawer system, the awning, the mattress, the heating pad for the mattress. And it's still, I got about 1 bite a week, but like I would reply with, yeah, it's still available, and nothing after that.
Yeah, sure.
And so I was finally like, I don't know what to do with this trailer. And MF Orion was like, well, we need like an event trailer. I was like, we have an event. We have 2 event trailers kind of.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, but we could use like an off-road event trailer. So like when he went up to Moonlight Madness, we couldn't take a lot of product to Moonlight Madness to sell and show off.
Right.
Because you're having to go down some Forest Service roads to get to the event location. Sierra Trek is another one. We can't take the White Whale, the 24-foot enclosed trailer out to Sierra Trek. I mean, we could, but I wouldn't want to put too much beating up and stress on the trailer. So we took my camping trailer and ripped all the guts out of it and redid it so that it works well as a Morphlate event trailer for more of a Forest Service road access events.
Yeah. Just sort of carrying gear and product up to out to events.
Yep.
Okay.
So literally we decided that one day. Within 4 days, I had 3 people reach out that are all like, hey, I definitely want the trailer now. And I'm like, and then when I reply that it's no longer available, they're like replying and having a conversation. I'm like, what do you, it's been out there for a year, guys.
That's funny.
So it is no longer available. We have already converted it over for business use. However, I think it's only going to get used like 1 or 2 times a year. So I might end up kind of like renting it out for people to go use for camping if they want it to. So
it's sort of a trailer rental thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about all the electrical? I mean, is it all gone? Like, I know you put a bunch into the camper, you've used some other places, but do you have stuff sitting in your garage?
The solar is gone from it, and the really nice battery system is gone from it. I could throw one of those batteries back in it because they're not being used for anything. But all the electrical wiring is still there. So the lights for the awning, the interior lights, the water pump, the DC to DC charger is still there. The electrical for the fan, the vent fan inside is all still there. So it just needs a power source.
Got it.
So I am planning on putting a battery back in it, but I was thinking about just doing a little small power sport battery, but might not be a bad idea to put in the 100 amp hour lithium that I have. That's just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, if you got an extra one.
Yeah. So anyways, that's where the trailer's at. Sorry, Jordan. Now that we're on the topic of lithium batteries.
Okay.
My favorite lithium battery that I use for running the portable repeaters, I took 2 of them from the repeaters and put them in the Lance.
Oh.
So that power system has been working flawlessly. It's awesome in the Lance, but that means I needed more batteries for the repeater system now.
Yeah, right.
Last time I bought them, they were $250 a piece.
Yeah.
For a lithium 100 amp hour Bluetooth connected battery. Small, a third of the weight of a yellow top. Same size as a yellow top. But about triple to quadruple the amount of usable power as one yellow top.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And with the Bluetooth connectivity, you can check on the battery cells and see what their loads are and their draw and their inputs, their charge cycles. And so $250 was already a great price for that battery.
Yeah.
They are $180 a piece on Amazon right now.
Wow. Maybe I'll do a dual battery setup in the Tacoma.
For a house battery, I don't think you can beat that battery.
Yeah.
It is a perfect candidate for a house battery because it's not a big, massive, like a lot of the Battleborn batteries, the Renogy batteries, they're bigger, bulkier batteries. And these have a really nice, smaller package. And they've got little handles on them. So it makes them easy to move around if you want to. But if you wanted to do like a built-in house battery for your vehicle, $180 for 100 amp hour lithium. That's a pretty good way to go.
100 amp hour
Mm-hmm.
or watt hour?
Amp hour.
Amp hour.
Yep. Which is 1,200 watt hours.
Oh. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Because I was like, well, I've got a 500 already, but that's a 500 watt hour.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Okay. So that's So that is the big wagon tech, more or less.
Essentially, it's the big wagon tech.
Theirs is a 1200 watt hour.
Yeah, but the benefit to the wagon tech, it has an AC inverter into it, all the USB ports, the easy usability of it, and the portability of it all being a contained system. Whereas this is it's just a lithium battery.
Yeah, sure.
So you have to build all of your connections, your USB ports, your 12 volt plugs. You have to build everything off of it yourself.
Right. Understood. While we're on some battery talk, I had a stupid, funny idea that I was talking it over with some of my college mates about building like a power bank wall.
Okay.
For my literal house, not a vehicle house battery. But not doing like solar, but kind of doing what power companies do, where they will kind of sell power in a way during the peak hours and then regenerate their power during off peak hours.
Yep. Where
I would kind of do the opposite, where I'd build this battery bank wall and then build in some software and everything into it. So then as soon as peak power time comes on, or peak pricing, the whole house would go over to the battery bank wall.
Yep.
And then it's from, I forgot what it is. It's from like 3 to 9 is our peak time or whatever. So then like just after 9 o'clock, it would go off of battery power and it would start charging again.
Yep.
And it would regenerate or recharge itself, hopefully before 3 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
And then so during peak time, I'm using batteries. And during off-peak time, I'm recharging the batteries. So I'm only ever running on off-peak battery time. So we had a fun conversation about that.
If you want to get more in depth on that, CJ with a CJ has all of that. He did a deep dive into cost per kilowatt and all this other stuff about batteries and home batteries, battery walls. What's the absolute best way to be efficient charging to bring down your costs as much as possible. So he's got all that figured out.
Interesting. I will have to give him a call then, because a lot of the conversation came down to like, you're still buying power. Like now you're having to recharge the power. So you're only saving mainly the difference of peak time versus off peak time.
Yep.
And then how long is it going to take you to pay off those batteries?
Yeah. That's the big part.
By the time that you pay those off, are those batteries still going to be good, or are you going to have to buy new batteries? Yeah. So that's the way the conversation went for sure.
I mean, you could get, I forget what the number is. I want to say it's 500 amp hours is roughly good for a family of 4 for one day, 24-hour period.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could buy 5 of these batteries and it would cost you $900. Wire them all up, and then you've got a battery pack to help power your home. Now, granted, lithium has limits on how much load can be used at one time. Right. So you'd only really be able to use about 100 amp hours at a time, which is 1,200 watts, which is barely enough to run your microwave. So that's the big problem with running lithiums like that.
Got it. Yeah. And the big concern is definitely the startup of the air conditioner.
Yeah.
So that's the big power draw.
Yeah.
Anyways, going back to it. Thanks, Jordan, for calling. Tyler's trailer is currently now converted over to a
business
use trailer because nobody wanted it for like a year.
Yeah. Sorry.
I did ask the assistant if we should buy it.
Oh, really?
And she was like, it's too boxy. I'm like, fine.
It is boxy. But yeah.
I never realized until probably in the last few months, and especially like kind of a little bit when we were doing the house, about how much appearance matters to her.
Yeah.
Like for the longest time, it wasn't, I don't remember it being that big of a deal, but then like, there's some things that it really matters on the appearance. I'm like, so what? It's boxy, like it's functional.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care.
You and I are creatures of function.
Yeah. So anyways, thanks Jordan for calling. Good to hear your voice again.
Next one is from our Rover buddy who's slowly turning into a Toyota buddy.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll ever call in and admit it. So we have to call him out ourselves.
Yeah. Off air.
Well, on air, but he's talking to us off air.
Yeah.
He keeps sending us pictures of Toyota vehicles.
I know.
Saying, I really like the way this looks.
Why do I actually like this?
Yeah. So we're converting slowly but surely, converting Donnie from Land Rovers over to Toyotas.
And not just Donnie.
Not just Donnie. There's others
the
too.
Entire world is eventually going to be Toyota fans.
What are we doing tonight, Pinky? We're going to take over the world.
Everybody's going to love Toyotas.
I missed that show. Pinky
in the Brain. That was so good.
All right. Let's see what Rover Don's got to say. Toyota Don.
Hey, boys. Rover Don here. Listening to your Moab content. Always good stuff. It really, though, highlights how vehicle dependent the trails are. A lot of the things you're discussing, I'm thinking, oh, well, that's easy. You're saying that's hard, or you're saying that's hard, and I think that's easy, or whatever, vice versa. Example on Hell's Revenge, coming up Hell's Gate, that's no problem. I've done that half dozen times. No spotter or anything. It's no big deal. Obviously, like many things, it's easy until you get it wrong, and then things can go way wrong. But escalator screws me every time. I end up laying it back in that second hole there, ends up laying back against my roll cage every time. I don't know if it's a wheelbase width thing, whatever. Of course, my truck's built more like yours, where a little tippy, kind of a tall truck built for the Sierra. You guys, I know Tyler in particular didn't like the off camber and everything on Moab Rim, and I've never thought twice about that one in terms of off camber. It just never struck me as particularly challenging. You're talking about Top of the World being potentially more difficult than Metal Masher, and I would think the opposite. I've done the lollipop, both sides of it, and I would think Metal Masher was a little more challenging than Top of the World. And again, it's so vehicle specific. In case anyone's wondering, my rig is a 100-inch wheelbase and pretty tall. I've run out there on both 37s and 39s. But, whatever, it's, relatively narrow truck, probably not that much different than the Toyota stuff, the early Toyota stuff for that matter. But anyway, that's all I got for you. Keep up the good work. Crawl along and do your snail thing there. And, you just know. I don't even have to say it. Okay. Talk to you guys later.
Toyota's rule.
He didn't say it.
He didn't say it.
I think he is converting.
He's turning.
I think he is.
He's totally turning.
And I do agree. I mean, a lot of Moab and a lot of every trail is the vehicle specific and kind of, I don't know if specific is the right word, but it depends. There's a lot of differences between vehicles and how you can drive down a trail. If you're wider, it's going to be different. If you're narrow, it's going to be different. If you're longer or shorter, you're going to take many different lines. Yeah. Right. So yeah, they do. It does matter, especially out there in Moab and most all the trails around. In regard, my only other slight comment to that is in regards to the Top of the World and Metal Masher. I think I commented, I'm trying to remember back, that there's everybody goes up the right side of Top of the World, the right side of the counterclockwise of the lollipop. But I think, and I've never done it, if you went up the right side clockwise up the lollipop, I think that rock section, there's one rock section in there. I bet you that it would be harder than Metal Masher. Okay. But then again, I mean, I went down it. I've gone down that section and it was pretty gnarly, but I don't know. I didn't think Metal Masher is all that difficult. Yeah. So I mean, and maybe that's just a wheelbase thing. Yeah. Metal Masher to me was there's a lot of ledges that you have to just climb and that otherwise there's not a lot going on Metal Masher. Yeah. So maybe it, like Donnie is what he's saying is right, because it really does matter on what you're driving that day. Yeah. I mean, I personally think that Barrett Lake is a harder trail than Rubicon. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that would argue to their grave that Rubicon is harder than Barrett. And so I think Rubicon can be harder than Barrett. Right. But I think it just all comes down to my vehicle now. I mean, before it was tall and very tippy, a lot of body roll, which there's a couple of obstacles in Barrett Lake where that's not good. Gatekeeper is not good to have a tippy body on. But like now I'm super wide. And it brings a different challenge to Barrett Lake because it's a very narrow trail. So it's totally vehicle specific. And that's one of the things that I love about this hobby
is that there's so many umpteen different ways to build vehicles that like you can have the different conversations amongst the same or different people about the same trail.
Yeah.
And different perspectives on everything. So it's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in, Toyota Don.
Next up, Toyota Pool.
Toyota Pool.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kevin Pool Noodle.
Let's see what Uncle Kevin's got to say today.
Hey, Jimmy Tyler. Uncle Kevin here. Hey, Jimmy, when you're overseas, hide some pucks. You got to hurry up and make some, hide some over there for your listeners overseas. Anyway, that's all I got.
Jimmy, can you do that?
Yeah,
real quick.
Let me do that. Yeah, I asked a few people if there were trails over there that to like drive around on, and they were kind of like, we have like gravel roads.
Yeah.
You know, and there was some like I saw a really nice Land Cruiser or Parado that was like fairly built up, maybe like 33s, lifted, you know, had some like off-roading lights. And that guy was like, no, there's nothing really to do like crazy off-road out here. But so, yeah, it was kind of a bummer. But yeah, and we haven't got the pucks done, Uncle Pool. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Our bad. Next up, Zack.
Maybe we'll try to put it on Tyler before Trek.
Ugh, I'm not going to be able to get done before Trek. My to-do list this week is too big. Next up is Zack from Oklahoma.
Zack, Oklahoma. Hope you started Stardew Valley.
Yeah, let's see.
Don't peruse it.
All right.
What's up, Jimmy and Tyler? Zack from Oklahoma. Calling about the camper shell that I'm building. I guess I didn't go into detail of what I'm building it out of, but I'm building it out of extruded aluminum. It's pretty modular stuff. It's just got a bunch of key slots all over it. I've already started doing some drilling and some of the tapping, but the tap broke. I was using a Milwaukee tap, and I made it through like 8 holes tapped so I could put M6 screws into it. So I had to take a halt and wait until I can get a tap, which might be later this week. I don't know. We'll see. I also broke the drill bit that I was using to drill the holes. And I guess I could go to the store and get another drill bit, but the drill bit I'm using needs to be like a precise size because I'm using this jig with a hole that kind of lines up on the extrusion. I got it from 80/20. And so I got the drill bit from 80/20. And the drill bit's the perfect size to make the right hole size. So I have to stick with the 80/20 drill bits. Also, bed sizes for the 2nd gen Tacoma are 5 feet 5 inches for the short bed and 6.1 or 6'1" for the long bed, as far as I remember. And I think it translates the same for 3rd generations. I'm not sure about 4th generations. It looks to be the same, but I think 1st generations, they're a little bit different with their bed sizes and stuff. So, like, you can't interchange some of the parts from 1st gen to 2nd gen. But yeah, I'm on the way to get my tires rotated and balanced after my long road trip. But yeah, y'all keep crawling.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I think a photo would help in this instance.
Yeah. Show us your junk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that even might be part of it. You know, it's like, what are you building right now? Do you want some feedback? You know, we can show a little video and
what
people can comment.
Tyler and Jimmy do?
Yeah. Something like that. In regards to bed sizes, I think more or less the width of the top rails of almost all the Toyota pickups and Tacomas are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because
your bed rack,
my bed rack fits on Bobcat. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming it fits on slightly older generations. I don't know about 1st gen, but I'm assuming it probably does. Mm-hmm. And that same bed rack fits on my 3rd gen Tacoma
pickup.
Yeah. No, 3rd gen pickup fits on 3rd gen Tacoma.
Correct. Yeah. Charlotte.
So the width of them are all pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the length. So I'm curious though about the measurement of 5'5". Is that for this point longest, like the end of the bed through to the cab, more or less, or is that the interior like measurement from inside of available space? You know what I mean?
I would imagine it's available space.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because I thought it was less than that.
Huh? I don't know.
I have one out in the parking lot. We could measure.
I was
if I was that concerned. Yeah, I'll do it another day.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. We're coming up here on half an hour. Should we get it? Try to roll through at least one more.
Yeah. Well, Zach called back again.
Oh, perfect.
So he called back 5 minutes later. So
okay.
Let's see what popped into his head here.
What's up? I'm calling back again about more information about the camper show. I didn't say anything about the panels that I'm going to do, but the panels on the side are going to be Lexan, so they're going to be clear. I'm going to tint them so people can't really see in them, but I can see out of them. I'm thinking about the roof also being Lexan. This is also the stuff that they use in race cars for their windows. Trying to keep this camper show as light as possible. We'll see how that works, though. But like whenever I'm at camp, I can do the cabana style windows that just pop right up. And for like insulation stuff, I'm going to get like this 1-inch thick, like pink foam material, like Home Depot, that's like got an R value of 5. I've seen van lifers get 2 of these, or like the 2-inch ones, and they get an R value of 10. Don't know if I'll go that extreme, because I got a sleeping bag that is pretty good. It's like a 20-degree sleeping bag. But I'm also going to try and insulate stuff like the tailgate and other panels inside the bed to make sure that like it traps heat in. I'm also going to put reflective material on these panels as well. I'll take these off when I'm driving, so I still have visibility off the back window and in my blind spots. But yeah, so with the tailgate, because I'm going to put insulation back there, I do have plans to get the snail armor for the tailgate, which I think will be great. Also, Jimmy, do you know if like replacing the stock tailgate thing with the snail armor, does that make more room inside the tailgate? Because I kind of want to know that too. All right, well, keep crawling.
In regards to the final question, I mean, if anything, it's minuscule. I mean, the snail armor panel is 1/8 inch thick plus some powder coating. And you're taking off a piece of plastic that's maybe a 1/2 inch thick.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, I know that you're tall, Zach, and you have a short bed truck. So, that might be interesting. Something I would suggest doing, if you're going to get a snail armor, because the plastic panel, covers more of what I call the top of the tailgate, but it's more of the, like where the tailgate and the bed are actually really close. Like the bottom, like if you laid the tailgate down and you're standing at the back of the truck, the bottom of the tailgate would be at your waist.
Okay.
The top of the tailgate would be closest to the bed.
Okay.
Right. The snail armor exposes a little bit more down there than the plastic version does. But there are some rubber pieces that people make. I've got one off of Amazon and I never tried it out, but you can adhere it to your bed and then it just is a flap over the tailgate. Oh. And so when you lift the tailgate up, it just bends upwards.
Yeah.
And when you lay the tailgate down, it just lays down and it completely covers that gap completely out. It's called like a gravel rock guard or something like that. So like if you're moving things in and out of the truck bed, stuff doesn't fall down between that gap.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect answer for people that are off-roading and using their bed as a camping situation, then no water or mud or anything can get up into that area.
Yeah.
So that's a good option. I don't know why you're setting it up so that you have to remove it, the sides and everything.
Yeah.
That sounds a little cumbersome. If you're building a cab or a camper shell, I would assume that you want to have it so that you can store stuff back there. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to remove the sides or the back window every single time that you go driving, it seems like kind of odd that that you need the camper shell. I guess it's only for sleeping purposes.
Yeah. And to me, like the whole point I love the idea of building a camper shell out of Lexan.
Yeah.
And tinting it so that you can see out, but people can't really see in. Cause that means you get the benefit of sleeping out under the stars without being in the weather that might come up kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
So it just like, but if you're blocking all of that vision with insulation, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of building out a Lexan in the first place, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah. I think the purpose for him is just it's a thin plastic that's light.
Gotcha. So it's not really for viewing purposes. It's more of the weight savings purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least that's the way I took it. But I like the idea of having it, like I'm assuming you can pull the foam out and not have it so that you can see in and out of it. Mm-hmm. But why don't you just do a clear back window that's up against the cab of your the truck? Yeah. Nobody's really going to be able to see in that anyway because the cab of the truck is there. Mm-hmm. And then the mirror, you can use the mirror and just look out through the back and look out through the tinted back window.
Yeah. Like if that was the case, you're looking for a weight savings functionality, I would use ABS. I think ABS is lighter weight than Lexan is.
Oh, wow. Maybe. I don't know.
But
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I think that Lexan's a pretty cool idea, especially if you do want to look out of it. Yeah. That would be kind of neat to have a full camper shell that's you can view out and nobody can really view in. I think that's kind of a unique thing.
It's like those bathrooms in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I guess. I don't know. I think I
you haven't seen those?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen them, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have one-way glass on them. It's a porta potty almost.
Okay.
In the middle of a very public, very busy square.
Yeah.
With pedestrians walking around everywhere. And you go inside, it just looks like a giant mirror building. But when you're inside, you can see out.
Oh, geez.
Of every wall and the ceiling and everything.
Oh, so man.
It's like you're just sitting there doing your business in the middle of this square while everyone's walking around you.
Fills so many people's fetishes, I'm sure. I gotta poop in public. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's a cool idea. Zach, I would like to hear more while you're building it out to see how things work out.
Send us some pictures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can text them actually to the same number.
That's true. You can. Yeah. All right. Let's call it there today.
Okay.
We're down to 12 now.
Okay, great.
So we'll continue next week on Friday's segment of Snail Mail. If you guys didn't know how to call in or anything, it's 916-345-4744. Call in, leave us a voicemail.
Yeah, sounds good. You can also hit us up on social media. I'm over at SnailTrail4x4. Tyler's at 4x4 Toyota Tyler, or you can email us, Jimmy or Tyler at SnailTrail4x4.com. Except don't email Tyler because he doesn't check his voicemails.
Yeah. And I guess without any further ado, that's it for today's episode. Keep crawling, everybody.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Peace.
The number you have called has been disconnected.